Hello, Internet. Welcome again to Eric's Corner. Thank you for tuning back in if you're a repeat watcher. You like my channel, smash that subscribe button, and of course, like and share and spread the word of whatever's on my mind this 5 minutes. Today, I'm going to discuss vehicle emissions and how it's a total scam and how it has destroyed diesel engines. Now, first of all, diesel does not put off the emissions, the poisonous emissions that gasoline does. Well, why do I know this? Because out there in my shop, I have a 250,000 BTU space heater that just blasts exhaust and heat into my shop, and it doesn't kill me. Just like this propane heater I have right here. This is actually propane. It's not wood. It's supposed to look like it's wood. You notice the chimney does not pipe outside. Well, I mean, there was kind of no reason to, and now it's 100% efficient. I get a lot more BTUs out of it. The room I'm in leaks very badly. It's actually my man cave, and I have friends that crash out here quite frequently, or guests that stay from out of state. I make sure that they do not leave this heater on at night, so off chance it can't asphyxiate them. But there also is a carbon monoxide detector over there, which it's not going off. So the diesel space heater out there, I blast into my shop. Now, I had a 600,000 BTU heater that I bought for cheap just to resell, and I couldn't leave that on very long or it would make me dizzy and lightheaded. But if I took a gasoline-powered heater and did that, you would be dead in about 5 minutes, guaranteed. So they put these emission standards on these vehicles. Now, the 6-liter Power Stroke introduced in, I believe, 04, 03 might have been the split year, all the way up to 2007, where they introduced the 6.4 Power Stroke. They released it in like February of 07 because the 6-liter Power Stroke was such a freaking disaster, and the 6.4 was a lot better, but still very problematic. So a couple things. Again, I've mentioned in other videos, I am something of a mechanic. I've been turning wrenches on cars and boats, and I've turned wrenches on everything from a weed whacker to an aircraft carrier. The only thing I haven't worked on is things like airplanes and fighter jets. But in the Navy, I did work on ground support equipment. It's all the stuff you see at the airports that you attach to airplanes for one reason or another. But the diesel particulate filter, the DPF filter. So it's a filter that filters the exhaust, but then to clean it out, it dumps raw diesel into, this is the 6.4 Power Stroke, it dumps raw diesel into cylinder number 7 and 8 to just, on the exhaust stroke, to just dump the fuel into the exhaust system and rinse the filter out, in which time it goes out the tailpipe and onto the ground anyway. So you talk about smoke and mirrors and a complete scam and a lie. And all the big three, General Motors, which is GMC and Chevy, Ford and Dodge, which, well, none of them are running their own engines. They've all had major problems with their emission systems. Now, International makes the Power Stroke, is the only one that built a system that's destroying the engine. I mean, the 6-liter and 6.4 are 100,000-mile engines. I mean, I've heard of them being replaced as low as 60 to 80,000 miles. I'm not sure how the DPF system works on the 6-liter, but the 6.0, which I've had a couple of, you can rip all that crap off there for a pretty reasonable amount. I think it only costs a couple $1,000s, and they'll hold up a lot better. But you can't do it when they're brand new because it'll void your warranty. And they also say, well, it's blowing the engine up. It's like, yeah, it's blowing the engine up because they're putting these super hot tunes on them and then drag racing them. And it's the engines are not designed to take that kind of horsepower. So, so whenever I deleted my F450, I just put a real light tune on it, and it was nice. It performed absolutely amazing. So, so these DPF systems go bad. So instead of just taking them off for a pretty nominal fee, you got to replace them, and it's thousands of dollars. I want to say it's like $3,000 or $4,000, versus the delete kit for the exhaust is probably $500 installed, and you'll never have the problem again. I mean, I personally think that, here in Alaska, it needs to be a state law. Once you start having problems with this system, just take it off. There's no reason. I mean, I've heard of people taking their truck to the dealership time and time again, having the whole system replaced under warranty, thankfully, in some of these cases. You just keep having it replaced. Just take it off, because it's not working. And like I mentioned, the 6.4 that has the exhaust filter rinse system, cylinder number 7 and 8, it won't go out of regen mode, where it's dumping fuel into those cylinders, and the fuel will start leaking through into your crankcase, into your engine oil. And, well, you get overflowed with engine oil, and it destroys the engine. It thins out your oil. There's all kinds of more problems there we're going to have. And also, something happens where it actually blows out the piston, overheats them or something, so it actually cracks your pistons and destroys the engine. The engine to replace is $16,000. So this emission stuff, and I discussed on another episode, build engines to last longer, and we'll be far better off. I mean, how much fuel do you think it takes to build that engine? How much fuel do you think it takes to heat the mechanic shop that's replacing said engine? And that's not something I personally am set up to do. You have to jack the whole cab up off of the frame of the truck to get to the engine. You can't just pull it out through the engine compartment like you used to. I mean, how much fuel do I burn going to work to make the money to replace this engine? So government got involved and said, hey, you have to have a certain emissions standard on these, and they achieved it, but at the cost of destroying the engines, and it just flat does not work. It does not make any sense. And like I said, the Duramax and the Cummins, they're having big problems with these as well. It's not at the expense of destroying the engine like International did. Now, Ford actually sued International over the cost of really high warranty issues. I don't know why International wouldn't pay for the warranty, but apparently Ford was holding the bag for the warranty. So they sued them over. I don't know what ended up happening. I don't care. But Ford ended up building their own Power Stroke, and I mean, that 6.7, I am hearing no complaints about it. You still got to pull the cab off to get to it and everything. And I don't know why they didn't go with what Freightliner or what the International trucks, where they have the cowl, the whole thing that pulls forward, like on semis and dump trucks. I don't know why they didn't go that route. Whatever, they screwed us. It might have to do with crash test issues, but I mean, you're in an F-350. Who gives a shit? I mean, unless you're hitting a dump truck, you're coming out ahead. I promise you. So yeah, that whole thing was just a big fraud and a big scam. And the exhaust recirculator, again, you're just sucking exhaust into an engine that you want clean air going into, and again, it destroys the engine. And the 6-liter and the 6.4 had head stud issues. That's aside from emissions issues. I don't know what happened there, how they had it happen on 2 engines in a row. So they had head gasket issues, and I had what the hell was he? Chief Warrant Officer Grisso. He got a new Power Stroke and loved it, thought it was awesome, and at 4,000 miles was having problems with the head gasket. So he went and traded it in and took a holy shit staggering loss. Got a Cummins and never looked back. Cummins, fantastic engine. Just unfortunately, they wrapped it with a Dodge, and I mean, I don't really have much vehicle prejudice these days. I think they all build you a garbage product, and I think it's completely unacceptable. But again, government got involved, and just totally screwed things up for us real bad. I mean, they would have been way better off investing that research and development into getting far better fuel economy. Better fuel economy, you reduce emissions. And it's another video how I said, hey, let's go diesel electric. That to me is just the only way to go. I've looked into it, and I've looked at forums, and somebody mentioned that BMW has a range extender. Well, is what it is. It's a small generator that can't keep up with demand, but it can charge enough to where you can actually get, 1,000-mile range out of a battery. And again, it's going to burn very little fuel. Just put a little bit bigger system in there and just have it be powered. Get rid of I don't understand how, again, another Google's simple answer is, well, the fuel source supply, gas, and the generator is too heavy. The batteries in these things weigh 1,000 pounds. The generator that I should have brought it in here for this video. I mean, the generator, it's pretty heavy. I mean, I can lift it, The generator for that, a 5 kW, I know will run a pickup and even towing a load. I mean, you may not be able to do 90 miles an hour, but who cares? You get rid of that heavy battery, get rid of your heavy engine, get rid of your transmission. All you have is your heavy motor that you have anyway. And I mean, 1,000 pounds in gasoline, that's 150 gallons of fuel. No vehicle is going to carry that kind of fuel capacity. I mean, you're going to carry like 10 gallons, and at 60 miles to the gallon, you're going to have a 600-mile range. And I'm even seeing people with the Teslas and stuff carrying a generator with them. Just build the generator into the goddamn vehicle already. And I've had people on that video, people were fighting me on it, and, oh, you need to educate yourself and read these magazines. I have not seen it. I am not seeing anything conclusive that is saying that my method is wrong. So anyway, and the emissions on the gas vehicles are pretty good. It's not destroying the engines. It's not causing that many problems. The catalytic converters, I mean, they do go bad, but again, it takes 20 years. And then by then they're outside of, you're not required to fix them anymore, or you can just let them be bad because the cost of repair is more than the vehicle's worth. Okay, finally, a common sense regulation that actually makes sense. Like I talked about with going diesel electric, you're going to have a generator. It's going to look like a big alternator, and it's going to go to a belt that's going to go to your small gasoline engine. And it's literally going to be like $1,000 to replace. It can be 30 years old. Throw it out, throw it back in. You got a car that's worth $3,000, needs $1,000 repair. Hey, great, no problem. But you know, with conventional engines, you need a $5,000 repair on a vehicle that's only worth $3,000 after you throw an engine in it because it's beat to shit. It's just past its life expectancy. So I mean, I've come up, I believe, with all the solutions to this, but you know, whatever. I'm just an idiot from the internet. I mean, I must be wrong here somewhere because somebody smarter than me has got to have thought of these things. So anyway, if you like my channel, smash the subscribe button. And if not, I mean, hey, nobody's forcing you to listen. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll have another episode up for you here real soon. So have a good night.